there's something magic about this race. I have raced enduros, I've raced supermotos, I do road racing, I've done ice racing, and in all of that, never do I have my heart pounding like I do when I pull the starting line at Pikes Peak, because there's just nothing else like it. All the other races, you get to see the track, you do it over and over and over, you go round and round and round. If you make a mistake one lap, you do it better the next time. At Pikes Peak, every year you've got one try, and you don't know what's ahead. You don't know what the cars have thrown out. You don't know what rocks have rolled across. You don't know where there's sand on the road. And yet you go as fast as you can and as fast as you dare around every corner, not knowing what's there. And you don't get a second chance. You go one time and one time only, and it's got to be perfect. And the people that win are the people that make the fewest mistakes. I don't think anybody ever makes a clean run. Everyone always thinks, oh, I could have gone a little bit faster. I could have done a little bit better right there, you know? And you kick yourself when you do make a mistake, but then you instantly forget it because you have to focus on the next corner, and just you're always riding into the future on Pikes Peak. You're riding into what you can't see, you know, just as fast as you can. And that's different than any of the other racing that I've done anywhere. And truthfully too, I mean, there is the danger of it. It is not a safe racetrack. When you go road racing, there's hay bales, there's runoffs, there's, you know, at Pikes Peak, there's rocks and there's cliffs, you know, and so there are turns, 156 turns on Pikes Peak, and there are those that you can take and make mistakes on, and then there are those that you can't. And the ones that you can't, you learn very well, and on race day, you challenge yourself to push as close as you can safely on all of those corners without overstepping your bounds. And so Pikes Peak is a very, very mental game, too.
Why did you choose to race the KTM in this class?
This bike, this class? Well, you know, I've ridden the 750 class the last 6 years, and the 1200 class is new, and I've been tracking this motorcycle and wanting to ride one anyway, and so I decided to get it and give it a try. I'm racing against Greg Tracy and Brian Anderson and Joe Kopp and Alexander Smith and some great racers in basically a fairly new class. And what I like about this is this bike is all about finesse. It's got so much power. It's got more power than you can use in most places on the mountain, and you just have to finesse it the whole way. Trying to put 130 horsepower down the dirt is just a challenge. So it's not just a whiskey throttle, grab it and go. You've really got to play it finely, play it with a lot of finesse. So it's a neat new class. I love the motorcycle. I love the challenge. I am excited. I feel like a kid before Christmas, like I say, you know.
How have you been doing in the practice sessions?
My best, I've had a 4th place so far, and in speed trials I took 4th. I'm on the front row, so I'm hoping for 4th or better. We'll see. Yeah. Yep. This will be my 7th year. First year on this bike. I wish I had some more time on it. They're hard to get, and I didn't get it to the last minute. So during time trials, my speeds have been increasing 10 to 15 seconds every run, and so I know that will stop at some point, but I was still increasing when I ran out of practice.
What part of the course do you like better, the asphalt or the dirt?
Well, it's a tough question. I prefer the dirt. Pikes Peak should be a dirt racetrack. That's the way it was when I started the race. The whole thing was dirt, and it was wonderful. It was magic. Now they have started to, pave the road. It's now 50% paved. On this bike, the pavement is really, really good. And so for this race with this bike, the pavement is my strength. The dirt is a real challenge. This is basically a 400-pound street bike. A 400-pound street bike that, you know, is 130 horsepower that you're trying to put out on marbles and mud and sand and dirt. And so it's kind of dicey. Paul mentioned a bunch of the good stuff we did to it. One of the best things we did was I sent it to Paul Thied in Race Tech, and since he also races Pikes Peak, he was able to do the suspension for it and make this something that really handles in the dirt for the first time. When I brought it up for testing 2 weeks ago, it had the stock suspension, and even all softened up, I was two-wheel drifting it off the road, basically. I couldn't control it on the dirt. And after spending some money that was worth 5 times what I paid for it, for the suspension work that Paul did, it's fantastic. It's really a street bike, but if with a little bit of work and a little bit of passion, you can ride it on the dirt. And that's what's cool about the 1200 class. It's a real challenge. It's a combination of road racing, which these bikes do extremely well, but then you've also got to be able to take it on the dirt, which these bikes don't do very well. And so that's where the finesse comes in. You've really got to you've got to handle it with a great deal of care, because it'll step out on you instantly. Going up some of the straightaways, like Grouse Hill straightaway, I can be doing 80 miles an hour in fourth gear, still spinning the back tire, just trying to get traction. And if you aren't careful, give it a whiskey throttle, you'll just light it up and get sideways, no matter how fast you're going. It just doesn't matter. So that's one of the things I like about it. It's a real challenge to do that, and a lot of fun. You know, Pikes Peak is my passion. There's nothing else like it in the world. Paul's been talking to me about the Isle of Man. I'd like to go do that someday, perhaps. But Pikes Peak is, I will do it as long as I possibly can. And right now, I can't even imagine anything except Pikes Peak. So that's what you'll notice all the racers you talk to here, they get so focused on this. Some would call it an obsession or an addiction, you know. That's what it's like. You either do this or you don't. You don't do it halfway.